What's up, the Attitude Era podcast? We're back here at the Wrestling Universe, and we've got an amazing interview. Someone who was a big part of my childhood right here, Chris Masters. What's up, man? Thank you for being here.
Good to be here.
We'll get right into it because I know we're on limited time. So I think in the Attitude Era, which is what we are, the Attitude Era podcast.
Ladies, if you need to walk by him, you can just walk in front. Good seeing you.
But that's the energy.
Great seeing you all.
It's the
Have fun
Attitude Era
tonight.
energy.
There you go. That's how you do it. Take care, dear.
But that's the
See you later.
Attitude Era energy we have. And in the Attitude Era, there were certain things kind of like the DX chop that everyone knew. And I remember in school as a kid, because I was a ruthless aggression kid, doing the master lock. And you have the most full Nelson victories in all of WWE, beating Kurt Angle. How is that? Do you see that in the world? Like, I never knew it as a full Nelson. I knew it as a master lock.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole generation of kids that kind of came up and were exposed to that, and
Right.
so they always, and then even when I just went on YouTube for the first time, like around 2007, and I saw all the kids doing it to their friends and how aggressive they were about it, I realized that, like, oh, it kind of caught on with a bunch of kids and stuff. And, you know, it's so easy to do. I could see myself easily doing that at school because you can just creep up on somebody and
Right.
just slap it on them out of nowhere, you know?
And so that became your thing, the Master Lock Challenge. So now in present day, we even see your influence with Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Lock. How does that feel when you watch, like in comparison to what you did?
It just makes sense that he was the guy to break it, and his physical stature is, you know, he's so humongous, and you know, he's a good dude too. So it just makes sense to me. Although on the other hand, it does, you know, makes me think that there'll never be a big Master Lock run up there again, unfortunately.
I
But
mean,
what you gonna do, brother?
I mean,
There'll be a good Hurt Lock Master Lock thing, though, maybe eventually, you know.
well, talking about dream matches that never happened, I was watching the Rumble, and there was one person I was waiting to come out, but it didn't happen. When are we gonna get the Chris Masters return? Was it supposed to be in the Rumble and didn't happen? When's
No,
that
I
coming?
mean, I've only been petitioning in the last couple of years, and I don't know. It'd be nice for it to happen, but you know, I had randomly seen the Hurricane Helms at Chicago Airport, and if you know, he's actually a you know, a writer, I think, / producer there, and you know, so he kind of made it clear to me that there's somebody I have to make amends with, and so hopefully we can make that happen.
Oh, that's awesome. So, speaking of amends, I wanted to get into a little bit, and we had Mr. Kennedy on the show, and we talked to him about it, backstage politics and just kind of backstage relationships. How does any of that play into the career of Chris Masters?
Well, you just have to learn, you know, it's part of your overall game. Like, everybody can talk about your wrestling, your promos, your entrance gear, but like, you know, one of the things that you have to factor as a performer is the politics. And then, you know, politics is sometimes just fighting for what you either believe in or yourself. It's not always a bad thing or anything like that. So, you know, I do think that there were times when I didn't know when I needed to either fight for myself or something I wanted, and I didn't. So, but you know, everybody has their own learning trajectory, and you know, I think sometimes the point is just that you do learn it. Sometimes it's, you know, better late than never type thing.
Yeah.
But like, so I mean, that's what it is. It's the important part, because sometimes it's literally you just fighting for what you believe you deserve, or what, you know, your own talent or your own spot.
And I like that answer, and it's honest. I wanted to ask you something. Something I think is very inspiring about your journey is how open you are about kind of like addiction issues that you had and how you overcame it. Can you speak a little about that, about overcoming that for anyone who might be going through the same thing?
Yeah, it's such a tough battle. You know what I mean? And it's just not something you win overnight or even over a year or a couple years. And I'll just say this, like, after going through it, you know, you come out of it and you feel like sometimes you're never going to enjoy life again the way you did before that. And I'll just say, if since we're kind of doing this here, that, you know, you do find enjoyment in life again. Like, you know what I mean? But it does take time, but you do find that, or at least I did, and, you know, you have to do all the necessary work. But, because I think that you come out of addiction sometimes and it robs you of so many of your natural things that make you happy, because you rely on a chemical to provide you your happiness. So now you don't get that same happiness from working out, from sex, from just any kind of stuff like that. So, that's what is really hard to get back, but it does come. At least it did for me.
And I appreciate that answer, and thank you for being so honest with us. A few more questions before we go. I gotta ask you about your physique. Was always a big thing in WWE. You were the guy with like the best physique. That was your thing. Was that always going to be your plan going in, being that masterpiece?
No, not at all. I just, I didn't even think I didn't know I was a body guy until I just saw that was how I was perceived. Like, because everybody in OVW was for the most part was built. But I could tell by a lot of my peers that like I was looked at as like a body guy, like a guy who was specifically like, like a little more built, so to speak, than other guys. So I don't know, like it was never really. I mean, I did love the Ultimate Warrior, but I wouldn't say that he was the guy who inspired me. Like I was much more inspired by watching guys like Mr. Perfect, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair. Like those were the performers I liked. So, but like, I just ended up falling into that, and then it ended up being my ticket. You know what I mean? So that's cool. You know what I mean? It got me to break in. I was one of the youngest WWE superstars ever, and but like the way I work now is much better. First of all, I'm not as big, obviously, and also it's much more like. It's much more appealing to who I would have been as a fan, because the stuff I do now is more what I was geared towards. I gear myself towards my younger self.
Awesome. And something you had brought up was how young you were in the business, and you can correct me if this is wrong, but I had read rumors that at some point you were planned to be the youngest champion.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to use that to lead into what's kind of a big Chris Masters match or something, or moment that kind of ended up falling through.
Oh, well, I mean, I was supposed to, like, that didn't end up happening?
Yeah.
Oh, there's quite a few. I mean, Carlito and me were supposed to win the tag belts at the WrestleMania match that we worked together, but it got switched. No big deal. And then the second time was I was supposed to win the Intercontinental title, but that's when I also had intervention for my pill addiction. So, and they even told me, like, oh, we originally had you set to win the belt tonight, but in light of what we found out and what I was going through, they didn't do that, obviously. And then the world title thing was also speculated. I never heard it firsthand, but it was speculated. But, like, I think a number of factors kind of put a squash to that. One of them being, I think, Cena. So I don't know 100%. But
And do you, backstage, was it a good relationship with Cena, or?
No, I mean, we always like, well, it's not a hatred by any means. We're just two very different guys. I mean, I'm from California. He's a Massachusetts guy. And it's just, and especially from where, at that point, he had a better work ethic than me. So I think he looked down on when he looked at me and didn't see that same work ethic. Although, I will say, I did, develop that eventually. I was just, you're young and dumb. Sometimes you don't approach things the best possible way.
Right. So the last question I wanna get out of you before we wrap up is, right now in wrestling, there's a lot of things that are happening with AEW being like a first big competitor, and I kind of want to get your thoughts on WrestleMania. Right now, there's Sami Zayn, there's Cody Rhodes, there's Roman Reigns. What do you think of this, about Sami Zayn's blowing up so organically, but Cody being the one they're planning for?
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, it's like Daniel Bryan a little bit, right? Again, like,
right.
I don't know. It's really nice when you see somebody organically get over like this, and it's difficult because you know that the machine probably wasn't anticipating it, and that they have their anointed guy that they're trying to go with. So I don't know. I think the best thing they could do is try to get all three of them involved somehow, maybe. And then, but the thing is that might end up turning Cody heel too. So I don't. Maybe they can't. I don't know. Maybe Cody has enough fanfare where he'll just be a babyface. So I don't know. But you can't deny the Sami thing. I mean, I think it would be kind of disappointing to not have him do something with Roman, even going into Mania. So
right.
Anyways, yeah, it's good stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Chris. This was awesome. Also, we have Carlito on Zoom on Monday. You want to say anything to him?
What do I want to say to Carlito? Brother, we need to get some NBA 2K on. We haven't balled in a while. I haven't seen him. I miss you, brother. I miss you. I'm gonna come see you soon in Vegas. That's about it. All right.